Our business topic of the day on Biz Today is a rather interesting one. If you've heard the term enterprise development, it might not be as difficult as it sounds. Enterprise development is something that large corporates are very familiar with, and also a program they put in place to be able to spend for social causes or a good one. But how does it apply to you as a small business? Well, we've got Mandisa Jostrey in studio. She's an enterprise development specialist who is the founder of Iman Trading as Iman Consulting, a company that seeks to address the developmental needs of enterprises and entrepreneurs. A former ABSA bank executive, Mandisa holds a master's degree in administration from the Management College of South Africa, more commonly known as Mancosa, a bachelor's degree in technology, commercial administration, national diploma in commercial administration, both from the Durban University of Technology, and a certificate in local economic development from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, more commonly known as UKZN. Mandisa is also an accredited facilitator of the International Labour Organization and is one of the Women Entrepreneurial Development Cadres, a specialized group of women entrepreneurial development specialists in Southern Africa. This is a recognition by the ILO under the program Women Entrepreneurial Development and Gender Equality called Wedge, which we will be talking about a bit later in the interview. So today we will focus on the entrepreneurial programs offered by Iman Consulting because I think it's necessary and it's important for you to know how you can access ED spend, particularly for your small business. Mandisa, welcome to Biz Today. Assalamu alaikum. It's wonderful to have you in the studio.
Wa alaikum salam, and thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
It's really great that we got talking yesterday. Actually, it was the first time I met you and was very keen to know about a consultancy that puts together particular programs around enterprise development for corporates. But that's just one part of the business.
Yeah, it is.
So tell us a little bit about Iman Consulting.
Well, Iman Consulting has been around for a while, for a few years, but I actually became part of it full-time early this year because I have been working, as you have mentioned before, for ABSA for the past 9 years on the field of entrepreneurial development, but I was doing that for the bank.
So I'm wondering then, you know, that's the way a lot of entrepreneurs start a business is they take a particular skill they have, they've been working in a job that they've been practicing that skill, they understand it, and so they decide I'll go out on my own and rather do this for myself and offer the same service or skill to my own clients. But at the time, I know we were talking earlier, you said to me that you started at the beginning of this year to practice full-time on your own. You were doing this part-time previously. But was it just taking your skill from a previous job and using it? Or did you identify something even more in the South African sector where you saw small business struggling and you wanted to address that?
You know, I've worked with small business for a very long time. Actually, it's been 9 years where one has been exposed on the challenges and the battles that small businesses go through in trying to make headway with their businesses. And I have identified a gap that there is support that is needed out there for small business to actually succeed in their ventures, regardless of the industry or the services they provide. But there is that gap that's there, and that's what drove me into following my aspirations of being an entrepreneur myself, but also address this need, which I think is very critical for the economy of this country.
Give us some brief insight into the programs run by the consultancy, because it addresses directly two needs, and the one is challenges faced by small businesses to access funding. You also have a particular program for women, but you also identify that corporates don't always know where to put their spend, so you go in and you say, hey, here we have a plan. So what are some of the main programs that you have?
Okay, our services are twofold. We provide services for businesses, for like a business to business kind of interaction, and we also provide services for corporates. For business to business, we provide mentoring, we provide guidance. We actually take a business, do an assessment on it, and identify what are the gaps and what needs to be done in order for that business to either grow or to sustain itself. At times it will happen that the gaps that we identify are things that we can do at Iman Consulting, then we will assist. But if it's something that is outside of our scope, then we will direct that business to the right channels in order to address those gaps.
So you're effectively taking small business, looking at their growth, potential growth based on where they are at this point, and advising them, mentoring them, putting them into contact with people who could possibly buy their services.
Yes.
Are we right in saying that?
Yes, you are right in saying that. You know, it happens in three ways. We assist entrepreneurs who are just starting up and they have no idea where to go from their ideal phase to getting a business going. And then we get entrepreneurs that are currently operational, but they wanting to grow from the level that they are at. And then we get entrepreneurs that are currently operational, but they are battling to sustain their businesses.
That's right.
Yeah, and then that's where we intervene and see how we can assist.
What's the biggest challenge that you hear from businesses? What is the main challenge that they all face?
Well, from what they say is that they battle to access funding. But you know, as we work with the business and we drill down and try and find the core issues of the business, half the time it's not funding. It's just that in everybody's mindset, it's like if they get money, then
they're able to do something.
Then it will sort out everything. Most of the time, it's because there are no systems in place that a business is working on. And you know, being a small business, you probably start on your own or with just one person, and that requires you to be an expert in everything, and that's where the problem starts. And you will find that a business is battling to sustain itself, to grow, and the reasons is really because there are no systems in place. And it's not necessarily because there's a shortage of funding. Yeah, in some cases, yes, it is battles to get funding, but not all the time. But that's one challenge that everyone comes up with, that I cannot access money.
That's an excellent point that's raised now in this conversation, because I think most people, 99% of entrepreneurs who haven't seen an opportunity and are taking the resources around them and leveraging them in order to do something, to address a need, always talk about money. It's a natural human thing to say, I don't have the money, therefore I can't do that. But actually it's down to the systems, because it's what makes a successful business like McDonald's, for example, or other chain stores or franchise opportunities run. It's the system that's put in place.
Yes, and if you can listen to some of the successful entrepreneurs and you follow how they started, you will find that they started with very little and they build up on that. But now you get people who just want to access $1 million to start, you know, and somehow it doesn't gel, it doesn't get the business where it's supposed to be. Most of the successful people, they started with nothing and they build it up, and it is possible to do it that way.
Right.
Yeah, and then you access funding once you've got something that has been developed and you're looking at growing it, or you have identified further opportunities, and then that's a point where one can say they need more funding.
So you've got, as part of the various services you offer small businesses to grow, you've also got a particular program designed for women called Wedge. But tell us a bit more about that.
Okay. Firstly, Wedge is not our program. Wedge is a program by the International Labour Organization, ILO, and we happen to be accredited facilitators on this program. A bit of background on this program: the ILO did a study in a number of countries just looking at women entrepreneurs, and they identify a number of issues that needs to be identified, that needs to be addressed in order for women to prosper in whatever they are doing. And then based on those findings, they then developed this program that's called Wedge, and I happen to be one of the participants that were trained and capacitated in this program to roll it out in the communities. So in South Africa, there's only a handful of us that were accredited into this program. When we got our accreditation, we were a total of 24, of which 11 were South Africans and the rest were from other countries in South Africa.
That's a major achievement on your side, I would say.
It was.
That's incredible. So yesterday when we chatted, we were at a function together as speakers around Women's Month, a particular initiative by another very excellent incubator who we'll talk about soon.
Yes.
But what stood out for me in your presentation was the particular challenges faced by women entrepreneurs in the workplace, both personally and professionally. Please could you take us through some of those, because I was, just mind blown yesterday thinking about those challenges. We go through it every day as female entrepreneurs, little realizing we actually are facing them. So could you take us through some of them and explain also how we're supposed to navigate them, or what is some sort of balance that we could have with that?
Okay. There are challenges that are common to women in business, regardless of where they are in the globe. And then there are those that are common to us as Africans. And one of those challenges is the social values, the cultural values, where you will know that traditionally in Africa, a man is supposed to be a breadwinner. A man is supposed to be the one who goes out, work, and brings money home. Yet, some social requirements have somehow required us, as well as women, to go out there and try and make it work for ourselves. And you will find that this is not acceptable in some of our societies, because it is perceived as you are now trying to take on a role of being a breadwinner at home. So the society somehow look at it in a total different eye than the initial reasons that ones go into business. And in some cases you will find that not only the society, even at home, your partner will be the one who will not gel with this idea of you now going into business and being exposed in the outside world and working with other people. So those are the challenges that we face on daily basis. And also moving on, one of the major challenges it's the investor confidence on women entrepreneurs. You find it because it is perceived that the entrepreneurial space, it's the men's space. Therefore, if you go out there and you're looking for an investor and you go head to head with a male counterpart, a person who is likely to secure that investment or funding, it's a male. Not necessarily because they are better than you in what they are doing, but because it is this mindset that says a man can do it better. A man is a businessman in any case, by our standards, by the social standards. And then also, that's what is a major challenge to us as women, is balancing our business life as well as family life. You will know that we are the nurturers of our homes. We are the one who sets the foundation on what will be the home structure be. And that is a responsibility, a huge responsibility on its own. Yet on the other side, if you are a businesswoman, that life as well requires your undivided attention. And the two really conflict with each other.
They take your energy from you.
Yes,
they really do.
Absolutely drain you, because it wants both sides really requires everything out of you, and the moment you focus onto the other side, the other one will suffer. So it's becoming very difficult to kind of strike a balance and ensure that you do it well and effectively in both platforms. But having said that, there are ways that we can try and overcome some of these challenges, of which one of them it goes to you as an entrepreneur developing that thick skin in terms of trying and shut all the negativity that comes from all directions that will somehow hinder you in trying to get ahead with your business. It also goes on to trying and break through those limitations that are put in place by society and the way they see things. You know, we can all play in the business arena, and we can all contribute significantly in the business arena. So you cannot allow the society to kind of determine on how far you can stretch yourself and what is it that you can do or you can't do. We have proven, a number of women have proven that they can play and play very well on the business platform, and in some cases do much better than our male counterparts can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, another thing that has been a challenge is that with us women, there is no mentoring and grooming that happens at the early stage, because half the time, if the man is in business, the person that will be tagged along to learn about the business, to be mentored, to be groomed, to take over the business, it's a boy child, and that the girls somehow are left behind. So it is our responsibility now as women in business to kind of mentor our girls as well, to step up and learn what we are doing and why we are doing it, and become successors of whatever we have started.
So it sounds like your mentorship programs are specifically also designed to not only cultivate the business side and a strong business ethic and work ethic and be able to take the business to another level, but the person driving that business. So personal development is equally important in that case.
Yeah, it is equally important, because you know, you can have a brilliant idea, a brilliant business idea, but if the person behind that business, the driver, is not capacitated appropriately to run that business, both on the business ethics side and both on the personal grooming side, and then the business is not likely to succeed. So yes, I agree with you. Personal grooming plays a major role in successing in business.
There must be an alignment between that, so you have ultimate success. But coming back to the services you offer, you have another core part of your service offering is offering corporates a designed or particular solution to helping them channel their enterprise development spend properly.
Yes.
What is enterprise development, if you can explain that to us, and how does the solution work for a corporate?
Okay, firstly, enterprise development is like a new term that's not everybody is so familiar with.
Yeah.
But it happened to be one of the core requirements, especially in our country. In South Africa, we know that enterprise development plays a role in terms of the BEE scoring of companies. So really, in a nutshell, what it means, it means a development of businesses or entrepreneurs so that they can be able to play a meaningful role in the business arena. So when we talk about the business, the enterprise spend, each corporate here in South Africa is required. Actually, government has pleaded with corporates to give back into the community they are operating in.
Right.
Give back in terms of trying and promoting entrepreneurship, taking their resources in whatever they do in their profits and put it back into communities in trying to build more entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Mostly because it has been identified that the solutions in a number of challenges that our country is faced with lies with the entrepreneurs. So how we become part of this cycle, you know, because it is a requirement by government, you will find that most corporates are doing it just for the sake of doing it so that they can comply. And that is not how it's supposed to be happening. It's supposed to have an impact, a desirable impact that can really see small businesses succeeding or growing. So how we come in here, we assist corporates to design programs that will really address the challenges or the requirements of that particular entrepreneurial group that they're dealing with, because we cannot have a one-size-fits-all kind of a solution.
That's right.
Yeah, because it depends on geographic areas. It depends only on industries. Industry requirements are different. So the solutions that you will put in place for entrepreneurs that are in manufacturing is totally different to the solutions that we'll put in place for entrepreneurs that are in transport. So, but we have seen half the time that the solutions that the corporates put in place, they are not informed properly in order to have that impact that is required. So we kind of assist in designing a program that will talk to the objectives of that corporate, as well as address the entrepreneurial issues that exist within that industry or within that geographic area. Well, it depends on a corporate whether they want to facilitate the program themselves, but we also avail ourselves to facilitate the program on their behalf, mainly because we are specialist in enterprise development. We know exactly what needs to be taking place, and half the time corporates do not have that skill or the capacity to run those programs.
And as we come towards the end and wrap up a very interesting conversation on enterprise development, I think a very interesting question that a lot of small businesses now will have on their minds, because I've been having these conversations with my peers in the industry and didn't actually realize it initially, is how would small companies then tap into the ED spend of a large corporate and align themselves with the company's compliance, as it were. So there's a certain way a company would go and pitch themselves. So I would go to a company, these are my services, this is the business I have, I'm in the same particular area as you, I understand the challenges you're facing. But would it then be better for me as a small business to try align myself in the program that a corporate's running under their ED spend?
Yes, that will be beneficial for you as a business. But the challenge that we have seen is that these programs are not openly publicized. So it's very difficult to know what each corporate is doing for entrepreneurs. So it's then says the owners are really on an entrepreneur to dig for this information to those corporates that they have interest in. Find out if are there any entrepreneurial development programs that are taking place, and if they are, try by all means to enroll yourself in those programs and align yourself with those programs, because half the time when the corporates are spending on entrepreneurial development, they spend on entrepreneurs that they will somehow use as suppliers for themselves. So it gives them confidence that the people that we are sourcing goods or services from, they have been capacitated in these areas. And then that's also in another way kind of increase your chances of being able to secure any work from that corporate.
So as the final words of advice for our aspiring entrepreneurs, how would you advise them on building good systems from the beginning for best growth during the course of the early years of their business?
Well, I think it is a critical step in any business that is starting up to ensure that the systems are in place and it's the right system. So unfortunately that some of these systems to put in place, it will require you to spend some money, but you better do that than try and just be in a jungle, fail, and then you go back and try and putting the systems in place. I will advise, firstly, anyone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur to first sit down with a consultant, an entrepreneurial consultant, discuss their aspirations, get advice on how they can start their venture and what will be required, and put all those basic systems in place. Because you know, half the time, I will make a typical example. Marketing is very important for any business, but you will find that because you have not been advised appropriately on what is relevant for your business, you will spend a lot of money on unnecessary marketing platforms.
That's right.
Yes. So I will really advise all entrepreneurs who are in business and those who are aspiring to ensure that they plan properly before they move in to that venture and try and get a head start with whatever they are wanting to do.
Thank you very much for joining us on Biz Today, Mandisa, to enlighten us, educate us on enterprise development and all the new changes that are coming out in terms of corporate spends of large companies and how small businesses can maybe access this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. So you heard today on our business topic of the day, we're talking particularly about enterprise development as a new subject or form. If you haven't heard about that yet, go and Google enterprise development. It's particularly because of the BEE codes that have been newly released again in South Africa. I think that was at the end of May. And just try to see how your business could possibly register on an enterprise development program with a large corporate, or just investigate it, because you don't know that you're not aligning yourself properly with a company's policy, and it could be the way that your business could get a bit more business with a bigger company. We hope you enjoy that, but stay tuned. We've got our wrap-up coming up next. Okay, let's wrap it up. It's been another interesting episode of Biz Today. We had Bilal Kathrada in studio telling us about CompuKids, his exciting journey, and just realizing, you know what, I really need to do this. Mandisa Jostrey from Iman Consulting talked to us about how we need to be stronger as entrepreneurs and not give up even when the going gets very tough, and also how we need to identify the new initiatives coming out for entrepreneurs and business owners in the country, particularly around enterprise development that's being introduced because of the new BEE codes. So now, just to leave you with something before we go away, you know, one of my favorite books that I always go to is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And there's an interesting analogy he talks about in the book. Please get your hands on this book, because I think you will quite appreciate the story he's trying to tell. But he talks about 3 personalities that us as business owners have to play every day. And that's one of the entrepreneur, the second is the manager, and the third is the technician. And do you know what? What most of us do in our own businesses every day? We only play the role of the technician. It's what we know how to do best. We actually do the work. There's very little time sometimes left to think about systems and how the work is going to flow thoroughly through the business. And there's even less time left to being a visionary, to dream, to build these castles in the sky, and to actually go and build them for real. So if I were you, I would get my hands on that book. It's an excellent one to understand. It's a real story that's told to a person in the book, Susan. I think it's Susan. She runs a pie shop, and how she can take the pie shop to, well, you know, not baking the pies anymore, but actually becoming somebody who's learning the system of how you can build more stores to sell more pies. So I think if anything that you've taken away from the program today is that move away from being the technician only, but try to have some sort of balancing act between an entrepreneur, a manager, and a technician. And that's it for the show today. As always, tweet me at Nazareen E, and please send us your thoughts, suggestions, comments, anything that's interested you in the entrepreneurial space in South Africa. Tweet at Biz Today, that's BizToday_ZA. And if you've missed the show, like I say, you can also catch me on my radio show. It's called How to Make It in South Africa on Radio Al-Ansar live stream, www.alansar.co.za. That's it for the show. Goodbye.